I've met Teddy since 1995, as I said, and my profession, I took care of boxers. One day I was treating one of his fighters, and I said, Teddy, I have an organization in Brooklyn where there's a high rate of lack of fatherhood in the community, and I met a couple of ministers who were sincere about being big brothers to this community, and would you be able to help? Teddy said, what do you need? Teddy, they're going to turn off the lights. What can you do? Teddy said, call so-and-so and let them know, send them a check. Teddy didn't ask me how much it was, what it was. He said, send me the bill and we'll have the light turn on. And one Sunday we walked in here, the carnet was ready to come in, and those doors were kept open since 2005. Every year, regularly, we hold a field trip for young men and women who work hard in school. We take 3 buses. And I said, Teddy, we have 3 buses. Which one will you cover? Teddy, give me one. Teddy always write a check to cover one of the buses. And he said, what else do you need? T-shirt. Here's the money for the T-shirt. We have a mobile clinic in Haiti. Haiti is in total mess economically, but we are not giving up on our people. They are our people. And we have 10 nurses working in a center which we rent. And there's a rent to be paid. With the Atlas Foundation, these nurses are able to keep the doors open in Haiti. So doors are kept in the United States and in Haiti. Checks are always being written, and exactly what the money is given to us for. All of us are volunteer. Nobody earns a salary. There is 0 salary here. Not a dollar or cent goes in our pocket. Every dollar goes right where you put it.
Yes, teach them how to play, but we also are trying to teach them how to be good citizen. Right now they're mostly funded by the parents. We would like to have more help, more sponsors to sponsor the school so we can make it bigger, because we do want to offer more instruments.
We are a tight community. We open up our doors to everyone, and we have great dreams. As you see, this building is 1 level, and our goal is to put an extended level to provide affordable housing. And it starts here. You see those young men and young ladies playing the violin, build self-esteem.
And we are very grateful of this organization, because every year they sponsor us. We invest in those kids, and we really thank God, and we thank you for supporting us and for supporting our vision. You know, as leaders, we are here to serve. Just like Christ, he was called to serve, we are here to serve.
Ça fait couper toutes les voies, bah ouais, y'a pas chez l'espoir. Et l'autre qui pas apprécié, mais il fait yo gaspiller. Si petit crack y a pralé, nous fait comme si y a volé. Pourtant si vous remarquez où t'as déplié, posez même sous que vous senti bien, c'est la vie. Pas de personne qui doit retirer sans permission si la qui te met-elle. Oh, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. On célèbre si la qui te créé. On nous porte collé pour protéger. Oh, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Pas de personne qui doit retirer sans permission si la qui te met-elle. Oh, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. On célèbre si la qui te créé. On nous porte collé pour protéger. Oh, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. C'est la vie.
Alright. We come back. Et nous dit tout le monde merci qui t'a perdu temps yo, qui t'a nos patience yo, qui t'a suivi nous dans Theopraise Show. Nous vraiment excusez-nous pour le fait que et nous te ouais émission t'es un petit genre à blaguing, Jean Mounio dit, par contre comme anglais a dit, nous te ouais internet la cut off, nous excusez-nous auprès de vous-même. Et c'était un petit problème technique, nous étions obligés prendre une petite précaution. Nous étions obligés prendre une petite précaution pour nous regarder comment bagaille yo. Yeah, alright. Jenny nous come back, Jenny nous tourne encore ensemble avant pour nous bombarder avec questions. Tout à l'heure nous avons parlé de racisme qui existait dans parmi le monde, c'est que ou t'as un petit doute dans le sens que nous te dit nous sur certains bon le ça fini. Et ou dit que ou espérer ouais ça et ou t'as aimé ouais ça on le parce que you have been victim of that because not personally but the system ou ouais que là pas le choix pas bon même un petit espoir même pour ça t'arriver. But the thing is like so you as a pediatric professional so you work with kids so how you think you can help to put an end with this racism system through these kids?
Basically, you put it. I think everyone as a worker, you put into racism by treating everyone equally.
Okay.
If you treat them how you would want to be treated, hopefully that would open their eyes.
Okay.
This is how I treated you well. You can treat others well as well.
Alright, because I remember one guy was saying one day the author was said like give me a kid from 0 to 5, I will make him the man I want.
Yeah,
So
That's
it
true.
was Adolf Hitler. He was saying
that's
that.
true. That's Adolf Hitler. Yeah.
Exactly. So why do you think one day the racism is not gonna be end?
The reason why I say one day racism is not going to be end, because we would have to reconstruct the mind of everyone in the world.
Okay. That's what I was saying.
But how do we really have the power to
Exactly,
reconstruct the
do.
mind of everyone in the world?
Of course we do, because
All
first,
over the world?
Exactly, because I remember a great man was saying one day, he's my boss, and then he was saying one day, one guy was he wanted to change the world, and he go find a wise man, and the wise man told him, no problem, go to the state and try to change the world. And the guy was no problem, and he went to work and drive at the end of the state and talk everybody about the changing.
But that's not everybody.
Okay, so he was come back and said he was going like stupid stuff, and the wise man was laughing and said, now go to the after the say go to the city and talk to everybody about the change you want to make. And the guy said, okay, let me go do that. And he went to the city and nothing changed. And he came back to the wise man and say again, so what you make me doing? And the guy said, okay, no problem. Go to your neighborhood now. And he went to, and same thing. And he came back angry and said, okay, it's not happening, so I cannot do that. And the wise man said, okay, no problem, and laugh at him. And the next thing the wise man said to him and said, why you not change yourself before you want to change the world? Why you not start with yourself?
Okay.
So when you watch yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what you see?
I see brilliance. I see excellence.
Okay, so if you see that, why you not sharing with others?
I
And
do
make
share
them
with others.
see, and make them see what you see in yourself.
I do see that with myself, and I believe that black people, we see that in ourselves too.
Are you sure?
We are great. I cannot speak for everybody,
Okay.
but a lot of black people, we see that for ourselves.
Okay, so if you know people who sees that for themselves, so what you don't think one day racism will end? Because you want to change the world, like I said.
Because racism is not depending on me. I
know,
cannot change racism.
that's what I'm saying.
The
That's why I
people
give you
who
this
are in
example.
power the people who are in control of racism, we would never even see them.
Oh, yeah?
These are people who are in control of, that's why it's called systemic. Because these are people who are in control of schools. These are elites. Not even the 10%. These are the 1% of people. They're in control of schools. They're in control of housing. These people, they are in control of the food we eat and what community is the food distributed.
Okay.
These people, they are in control of, when I speak of these people, the elites, the 1%, they are in control of the hospitals, the community hospitals, which hospitals are where, how many people are employed in those hospitals.
Okay.
So this is not an issue for the community. This is an issue where we would never know the people, but they control these things because it benefits them. It's an economic issue. It's all economic. It's not about feelings, but what we can do to change.
Okay.
What we can do to change, we can elect leaders in the community to bring about change. Like you can elect, for example, our community leaders. You elect somebody good, and then they will speak for you.
Okay.
You elect like a community leader who will speak on your behalf, and they will say, instead of having a Popeyes, one more Popeyes in this neighborhood, let's shut this Popeyes down. Let's open up a food store, like that. So this is how we bring about change. But there's still small changes. But when we talk about systemic racism, that's not something that can go away because this is not in our control. If it can go away, how come it didn't go away all these years?
Well, it will. So one day it will start it, one day it will end. That's what I believe, though.
That's heaven. That's heaven speaking. That's what I'm saying. I cannot rely on hopeful things to happen on this earth. I cannot rely on that.
Anyway, that's
I came on
pessimism,
this
man.
earth. I came on this earth. It is how it is. No change. We've had some changes, but not much has been brought about. So I cannot rely and put faith too much.
But we wasn't
on
here
good
before,
things.
right? We wasn't here before. So slavery was legal one day. So everybody was complaining about it. So one day what's going on? What
But
happened?
you don't think there's still slavery now?
Of course I do, but it's not
It's
the
a
same way
different type
it
of
was.
slavery.
No, I do know. It's
In
not
the
only
slavery now, it could be worse than before.
Yeah.
Because remember, back then, we were in physical slavery, getting beat.
Okay.
Physical slavery.
yeah.
the thing is, what we've been conditioned to think that because we're not getting beat, because we're not in shackles, because we are not owned by the white man, that we're not in slavery. But we're still in slavery. Let me tell you how you're in slavery. If you have to go to work 12 hours out of your day and you're not getting paid your worth, that's a slavery.
Of course.
Because it's taking you away from your family.
Exactly.
If you read the book of course you read the book, the Bible. When you read the book of Exodus, right? Let me tell you that's how you know it's slavery. In the book of Exodus, the leaders, one of the leaders, they said, what did they say? The leaders in the book, in the Bible, they said, send the men to go to work.
Okay.
Leave the parents at home. Send the men to go work hard. Leave the mother at home. You know why? Because they know without the father in the household, so much can happen.
Okay.
Because that's the importance of they will say send the father to go to work, send the mother to go to work. Let the kids stay back home. So who's going to bring up the child? Who's going to teach the child right from wrong?
No, we can always teach them. It doesn't mean okay because we go to work they like.
But remember, they worked you hard, so you wouldn't have time for your family.
Yeah, but the problem is that's the way we think. That's the big problem.
But
You just said
but that's-
that. You just said that before. We have to re-educate our people how we work. Before we had Black Wall Street before, right? We still have people, black people, who has money in this
course.
country. We just don't know them. But the thing is, their kids, it's some good
the
kids.
difference that what black people are doing now, black people are doing great things, despite
Anyway,
the racism.
émission pour l'autre level là.
Black people are doing great things.
Nous quittons le pédiatrique là, on va aller loin.
Yeah, let's get back to the topic.
All right, so that was a big topic though, because I want to talk about it. I don't know when you will have the time and give us a favor again, maybe to talk about racism, how we see racism in our community. But anyway, so there was a question right here for you. The people said, what's the bad experience you had in pediatrics? What is the bad experience you have?
I mean,
Since you work.
Since I've worked, I think we've had an emergency situation. It was probably suicide. I get a lot of mental health issues in the pediatric population, ranging usually between the age of 10 years old to 16. So a lot of attempt suicides, and some of them, usually the girls, they commit suicide. So that's always a bad experience.
Okay. So my question is, how you as a nurse help kids or children who has asthma, if at the same time who had COVID?
Okay, so that was also a bad experience for me. That's what actually opened my eyes in the beginning of COVID. We had a child. He had asthma, and then he had COVID. I'm guessing he went to his doctor. They told him he had COVID only. So, no, he went to the doctor. They told him that it was his asthma acting up. So they just kept prescribing him albuterol. So one thing albuterol does, it helps with the asthma, but it elevates heart rate. So you cannot take it too much. So he kept having trouble breathing, and taking the albuterol. And then he had a cardiac arrest at home. Something that I also want to tell you parents at home, you should definitely know how to do CPR for your child. If you have a child at home that's 2 years old, you should know how to do CPR for a 2-year-old. If you have a child that's above 10 years old, you should know how to do CPR for a child that's 10 years old.
Okay.
That's basic life skills we all should know at home. Don't wait until the ambulance comes. So the kid came. He already had a cardiac arrest at home. He came into the ICU. By then, once you have a cardiac arrest, it's hard to reverse it. He was a Haitian kid. He came in, it was fatal. So that was a horrible experience. But aside from that, children with asthma and COVID, we have like a strict regime protocol. We help with the symptoms. So we would usually put them on basically how they're doing, either like a nasal cannula or a BiPAP machine, a machine to help them breathe. Because breathing is a lot of work, and we don't want the children working too much. Because every time you're working too much, now your heart is working too much. So we want to lessen them working so much. We put them on a machine to work for them. And that's basically how we treat it. Albuterol breathing treatments. We put them on fluids because we don't want you to eat. It takes a lot of work to eat. We don't want you to work hard to eat. So definitely a lot of fluids, breathing treatments. And then we were giving a lot of anticoagulants. When you're in the hospital, it's very important that your child, especially if they're sick in bed laying there, you want your child on an anticoagulant. Anticoagulant is basically like a blood thinner. Since you're not moving too much, we want you to, we give you a medication that basically like thins out your blood a little bit because we don't want blood clots. So we do a lot of preventive measures while we are treating the COVID.
All right. Thank you so much. So the thing is, you was talking about CPR. So do you think all the parents should know how to do CPR and how you can contribute to that and help them to get to know how to do that?
Yeah, I think I don't work in the nursery. I don't work in the nursery or with the mothers because I don't work with adults when they finish give birth. But I know that some hospitals that I've worked in, the parents cannot leave to take the child home unless they have done a CPR class. Because I say that because the way you do a CPR for a baby is different than the way you do CPR for an adult. Because babies, their heart is pumping faster. So you would pump faster for a baby as in comparison to an adult or even an older child. So what we do on the unit sometimes, we teach parents CPR. We teach parents how to check pulse. We teach parents how to check, like, is your baby breathing? Some parents, you wouldn't know. You would teach parents how to identify the right colors of your baby.
All right, so that's good. One more question, 1 second. Yeah, so we talk about CPR, and so do you think it's like gen façon on parent a supposé, même si on pas de moyen ou du moins surtout parents qui chrétien yo, et puis yo ta ouais que ti moun nan gen on maladie quelconque. Est-ce que vous pensez nurse yo gen façon que capable parler avec parents ça yo pour dire ti moun yo mais pour parler avec ti moun yo en cas où yo ta pensé que yo Covid? So est-ce que vous pensez qu'on façon parents ta lui ba et si gen une qui j'en pensé en tant que nurse, maybe tomorrow gonna be parent. So comment pense son parent ta lui parler à petite li surtout si son monde qui l'église à propos de Covid?
Definitely tell them the truth because there's a lot of information out there and you don't want the child to get the wrong information. So you would, as a parent, you do some research and then before you speak to them in a child-friendly way and you tell them there's an infection going around in this world and we want to protect ourselves. So you tell them these are the measures how you would protect yourself while this infection is going on. And then they have some classes as well where they teach parents how to speak with your child. And then they have some classes where you can go with your child and then with you and your child can go and they will give you like information.
Alright, that's cool. So, qui côté, par exemple, on a supposé aller, c'est tout faire besoin d'informations comme ça avec les petites filles. So, do you have some resources or?
Usually like your local clinic, they have like pamphlets. Usually like when you go to your child's doctor, they would sit down with the parent and the child to give them information and they would usually give pamphlets and things like that.
So, si tu as besoin de l'église, je ne veux dire comme regarder au live là. So, yon côté où tu as supposé aller si tu as besoin d'informations à propos de Covid pour petit yo. So, where we can send them.
Definitely, and if you're looking for information, you don't just want to Google, you want evidence-based practice information. So number one place, believe it or not, is the CDC. The CDC, this is information that has been scholarly written, meaning that before they put the information online, many health professionals have reviewed it. So if you go to the CDC, that's like the most up-to-date information that they will give you.
Okay, that's cool. So how a kid can deal with the social isolation due to COVID-19?
Yeah, that was social isolation. That was one of the biggest issues during COVID-19. That has also brought out the effect, brought out the mental illness. A lot of kids during COVID, they were isolated away from their friends, and kids, they need their friends. Everybody need their friends. So how do you deal with it? It's Zoom. Zoom was beautiful. I would say it's Zoom. Zoom came about. I would say Zoom. Like schedule play dates for your child through Zoom, because you cannot isolate the child. Or if you schedule dates for them to play outside with their family. But you can't keep the child isolated for too long.
Ok. So, pendant période COVID, ça, nous remarquons un peu le petit monde rentrer dans une logique suicidal. Comme si autour de tête yo. So, they think everything is done, there is no more. So, how you understand that as a pediatric professional?
What happened is that during COVID-19, it was a we were not expecting COVID-19, especially not how it came about. So a lot of mental health institutions were closed down during COVID-19 to focus on the medical aspect of COVID. So what happened is that a lot of kids with depression, a lot of kids with anxiety, ADHD, PTSD, they're where they usually go for everyday meetings, those places were closed down. They weren't taking people for like therapy and things like that. So because of that, a lot of kids, they missed out. And therapy for them, that's what they needed to get through what they were going through. So can you imagine, like, you have something on your mind that you want to talk to, and you can't talk it with someone. You can't speak with your therapist because they're closed down. Many of those institutions were closed down during COVID. And then some kids, you know, they have close relationships with their teachers. Now they weren't going to school, so they didn't have anyone to speak with. So that greatly impacted them. And like, imagine like you're isolated in a room all by yourself, thoughts start to happen in your mind, and they took it from there.
Okay, so somebody said I think it might be a great idea to give CPR classes in the church.
That would be a great idea.
What do you think?
That would be a great idea to give CPR classes.
And how you wanna be a part of it?
I'm on the spot, so it's like I have to say yes. I'm on the spot, but that would be a great idea to teach CPR. And then when we teach CPR, we would have to break it down to different age groups. Because like I said, for babies, you would like put the baby down and then just thumb, because you don't want to break the baby's rib cage. So you do the CPR and then you do it fast, because babies, their heart rates are usually in between like the 140s up to 160s, right? But us normally, you have to like really force, and then you don't have to go at like with us between 60 to 100.
All right, cool. So we think about it. We think about it to have a CPR classes.
That would be great
for the church, but we have to talk with our pastors first. And maybe I think that's a great idea as well. Thank you for the question. And there was another question. The person said, when do nurses create time for romantic relationship?
Oh, yeah. Why would you ask me that?
I don't know.
So personal.
I don't know. Okay.
When do nurses create time?
All right. So
who asked that question? Oh my God.
I cannot tell you who, but maybe you can.
Don't worry, I'm an investigator. I will find out.
All right. And
when do nurses create time? Honestly, nurses work 3 days out of the week. If a nurse is not creating time for you, the nurse don't want to give you time.
Oh, jeez, that's when the nurse don't want you as well.
Effort, you will know when somebody's giving you effort.
Exactly.
But not all nurses work 3 shifts a week though. Some nurses, I believe, work 9 to 5. But you know something? What I learned, it doesn't matter how much a nurse work. When she wants you, she will create the time for you.
Amen.
So yeah.
Amen. So the question continues, and they said, can you share your insight of a healthy relationship during the pandemic?
My insight on healthy relationships
during the pandemic.
Healthy relationship during the pandemic. I want to put emphasis on friendship during the pandemic.
Okay.
Because during the pandemic, you really needed friends, like friends who would call you and say like, "How are you? How's it going?" So friendship during the pandemic, that was needed, and I'll keep it at that.
Okay, because I remember like when the first time the pandemic hit, I was working at the Korean store, and that was the first time I saw New York, like Brooklyn, like that. It was like a zombie state or zombie city. So you see when you watch Resident Evil, it was like that. So nobody's out, and the street was so empty, and only you working. And so, anyway, another question: How have you managed your romantic
Oh my gosh,
relationship?
who's asking me this question? Oh my god.
All right, so yeah.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay, no problem. All right, so I think so. That person didn't hear you said you don't have nobody.
I
now.
don't.
Yeah, so that's mean she's a free agent. You know what I mean?
Guys, no,
All right, so that's good.
oh god.
All right, so the other question is like, 1 second. That person said, so why during this pandemic, about like nowhere PLOS, I think so. That's an organization. They said they think the kids of 5 years old at that range get more isolated than others. So why is that happen?
5 years old and
Yeah.
older. Why
Yeah.
they were high isolated?
Exactly. Yeah. Why?
I think that's because those are usually the school age children. So when the school shut down, most of the parents just had them at home. But imagine for teenagers in high school, when school shut down, they still try to find ways to go outside and go see their friends.
Okay.
So I guess because with the school age kids, the younger they were still under like, parents' control. The parents is monitoring their time, who they see, who they don't see. Whereas like in older children, they had a little bit more freedom.
Okay, so that is why. All right, cool. Anyway, so they said cardiac manifestation and COVID-19 is more focused on this patient during like the range like 5 to 17 years old. Why is that? Why it's happening like that?
Why the cardiac?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the MISC. If you guys have a chance, you can Google the MISC. So with COVID, it was increasing the inflamed markers of the cardiac. So basically, the troponins, the BNP, those are markers that when we do blood tests, we monitor those. And then we would take blood tests, we would look at the D dimers. So with the D dimers, you would see a child, D dimers are supposed to be low. But when the muscles of the heart becomes damaged, there is an increase in the numbers. Because during COVID, when you breathe fast, you're putting your heart to work a lot.
Okay.
The heart is a muscle. Nou tout te fon experience ke len ale nan gym. Ou pa ka telman travay, you can't work your muscles too hard. Depi komanse travay trop, ou komanse trop fatigué. The heart is not meant to work so hard. So during COVID, you're breathing faster, you're putting your heart to work at a rate that it was not meant to work. So now your cardiac markers increase. That's a sign of like heart damage and things like that. So then we are monitoring the troponins. We are monitoring BNPs. We are monitoring your clotting factors, because if your heart cannot pump blood properly, that can affect your blood ability to clot, and we don't want you to have a clotting factor. Another reason why we were giving a lot of the kids aspirin, baby aspirins, because it was showing that the kids, they were having blood clots, even in adults as well. We don't want blood clots, because now that's another issue. Once you have a blood clot, you don't know, is it going to move to your heart to cause a heart attack, or will it move to your lungs to cause a pulmonary embolism? So if we were giving the kids a lot of baby aspirins, 81 milligram, that's something adults should take daily. I'm not a doctor, definitely speak to your doctor about having a baby aspirin as part of your regimen, because it helps thins out your blood.
All right, cool. So there was another question. Thank you for your answers. So, how do we balance church, family, and romantic life during pandemic? How do we balance that?
Okay, I think it's all about organizing your time. Say, this time is for church, this time is for family, and this time is for romantic relationship.
But the problem is, a lot of people don't understand that. I remember last time I was at the show, and we was talking about like getting vacation at the church time. A lot of people was like, "What? I don't understand." They was like a lot of people they didn't agree with me because they were saying like we cannot take church time to go to the beach with your family. So, but so how we can say okay we have to put like church this time and romantic relationship and family after that. So it's not like a problem.
But we're not in church 24/7. You come to church on Sundays. Some people they do Bible study.
Okay.
And then you go to work. If there's a time for everything. God asked you for 10%.
Okay.
When God asked you for 10%, it wasn't only about money.
Okay.
It was about your time as well. You can definitely give more. I'm not saying like give God only 10% of a relationship. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about like time-wise. Coming to church on a Sunday and enjoying service, that's 10% of your time of that Sunday. So that's your 10%. Your family, you give your time to your family. That's another percentage. You give your time to yourself. You cannot just devote your time only for church, because now you are missing an action at your home, and that's where we have a lot of problems come in, because we have a lot of missing parents in action. So now the child is just doing whatever they want to do.
Okay. So individuals experience religious delusions. Yeah, delusions. Are preoccupied with religious subjects that are not within their experience belief. What is your thought? What is your thought on religiously preoccupied during COVID?
I think it has a lot to do with being religiously preoccupied. Has a lot to do with culture. Like in our culture, we put a lot of emphasis on going to church, and not much emphasis on family time. So you can see that in the families. Some families, if you take close attention, you see that you can see a family that put too much emphasis on church. You lack they lack the relationship with the family, because you put too much emphasis on church. But what they forget to realize is that the first church is in the house. You have to take care of your family first. Give your family the time, so that way you can have the energy to go to the church. So that's what's lacking, especially in our culture, is like l'église l'école l'accueil. But what about vacation? We have to put vacation in there. We have to put going out on dates in there, because you want to be a holistic type of person. A holistic type of person, they go to work, check. They go to church, check. They spend time with their family. They go to vacation. God didn't call us to just be in the Bible all day long. How can you show me that you love God if you can't show it to your children? If you don't make time for your children? How can you love God if you don't love your children and have time to show it?
Okay, so qui conseille au travail avec parents qui most of the time being at the church all the time and got less time for their family?
Conseil for the parents, I would say family dinner time. That's very important. Chita sous table, manger ensemble. That's really important. Planning vacation once a year at least. Some parents, they're working hard, they're living paycheck to paycheck, so they may not be able to afford vacation. And then sometimes when you see some families, they're not going for vacation, it's because they don't have money. Their job, they're living paycheck, they can't afford to go on vacation. That's racism. I just had to say that. Sorry. That's racism.
So how you explain that?
Huh?
How you explain that?
How do you explain
Yeah.
racism?
Yeah. So how do you explain the racism in that you just said?
Because I'm putting so much energy. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I have to feed my family. Can you imagine a man working 60 hours a week to pay the bills?
So
Si on, if
So
si
when you
Mago
said
travaille,
racism,
that's right. Si Mago spend 60 hours a week working, it's because he cannot afford not to work. That means he always have to go to work to pay the bills, to make enough money. He's not getting paid enough.
So what do you think is not getting paid enough? Because I think so.
So
the
now he
problem
don't have time to take the family on vacation.
I think so. We spend more than we get. That is the problem. So we spend more than we get. So if I get like $100, why I have bill 200? Why my bills is 200?
That's another issue.
No, it's not another issue. It's education. Like I always said. So you get paid for $100. Your bill should be like $40, not
That's true.
100 either. Because if that's what I'm saying, in the Bible, Jesus Christ and God was saying we have to pay your tithe. And tithe, it's the best time and it's the best way God showed us how to
Discipline.
manage our money. That's what you just said right now. So it's not only in money God asks us, even our time. Like I always said to everybody, when God asks for 10%, 10% in 24 hours is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you can afford that, so that's when you can have everything in your life regulated. So that's when everything will be in order. So you said it's racism because we keep working, and doesn't have money to go to vacation.
The money's never enough
That's
because you're
the po-
living paycheck to paycheck.
We didn't plan for that. I think so. We are not disciplined as like.
Do you know the
as
life of
system
someone
for-
who lives paycheck to paycheck? That means they don't have no. When you live paycheck to paycheck, the money is going to food, housing, and like any other extra activity for the house.
Okay.
Living paycheck to paycheck means this money is for me to survive. That means they do not have no leg room to do anything else.
So you don't
That's
think
a problem.
you don't think it's not the money issue. It's the discipline issue.
But what are they saving? They don't have nothing to save
They didn't save.
because they don't have
So
nothing to
why
save.
you know? Okay, let me tell you, Jenny. Why do you know you have $100 paycheck, right? So ou connaît ces $100 à payer every 2 weeks, by
That's true.
example. Why ou ap afford yon machine ou bien yon TV qui coûte $250?
That's true.
So why you keep listening to your kids and they said they want a sneakers for $300? Why you accept that? Why you agree with that?
Usually the people in this predicament, sometimes they're not giving the kids a $300. If you see a parent give a child a $200 shoes, most of the time they can afford it.
Okay, so
But I'm
why
talking
they-
about the parents who cannot afford it at
So
all.
but they did it as well. They did it any like n'importe genre. Anyhow, they did it.
Because they can afford it.
So because they can or they cannot.
Because they can. The parents who are doing that is because they found the money somewhere to afford it.
Okay.
These are not the parents I'm saying who cannot afford vacation. I'm talking about the parents who don't have it who cannot afford education.
Like I said, it's always a problem
It's about
of
discipline, of course.
It's about discipline because si on travaille, ou supposé connaître, mais comment ou supposé vivre. So that's why the Bible showed us we have to know what we want and what we need. So when we pay our tithe, so that's make us discipline ourselves to know, okay, I already have a TV in the room, so why should I want another TV in every kid's room?
Okay, let me give you where I'm coming from. My household growing up, I lived in the projects, right? My mom, the money she was making, it went to the bills.
Okay.
She did not have any extra money for vacation.
Because she didn't plan how to pay the bills.
No, but she did. My mom is very good at budgeting. My
did
mom is a
not.
Proverbs 31 woman. She knows how to work $10. She knows how to make $10 go here, go here, go here. She knows how to make her money work for her.
Okay.
She did budget it. And we still were not able to go on vacation. They have a lot of documentaries on it. Just because what if you didn't make enough money to even save? You couldn't save.
So the meaning of vacation for you is what?
At least like go somewhere on vacation, take a flight.
Oh, you see? So, so you see? So that is vacation for you.
That's the vacation, take a flight.
Staying home and talk with your friend, with your parent at home, and we have
See,
some
we
time.
have a
It's
different.
vacation.
Okay, we have a
It is
different.
vacation. You see, that's a problem we have.
Okay, but that's fine.
Let me
It just means that we have a different
okay, no,
definition
it's
of
not that.
vacation.
Because
If I'm
we,
not taking a
as a
flight-
black people, let me tell you,
Okay.
as a black man, as a black woman, that's our problem. So I was watching last time Mark Zuckerberg. So he had like his baby shower. Only 5 people was invited.
Okay.
And they was drinking water, bottled water.
Okay.
So why he does that? But in my baby shower,
Okay.
people was drinking beers and wine.
Okay.
So
Well, we deserve wine.
that's the problem. You said you deserve that. He does that?
That's him.
He doesn't? So
That's about whatever he
that's
think he
the
deserves.
problem.
That's what he thinks.
The
he deserves.
mentality. How we budget. Ça veut dire comment nous fait budget. So like you just said, maman son bon monde qui connaît comment pour faire l'argent travail. But the thing is the way she saw how you guys think about vacation. C'est ça qui fait le pas qu'à afford.
No, she can afford everything. She afford my schooling.
But
Afford my
you just said that.
education,
Vacation for you is taking
clothes.
flight.
Yeah, because you want to see the world. You
Exactly.
don't want your children to see the world.
There was a time for everything under the sun. That's what Salomon said.
That's true. There's
So
a time.
okay. So two-day vacation for you is like okay, bon moi rete là avec la caille, bon moi ta mamie, on allait faire pique-nique. That's vacation.
Okay, picnic. Okay,
Okay.
picnic. Tellement travail là, fait le travail tellement dur, she didn't have time for picnic.
It's not the work. It's the way you plan it. That's the big problem.
Because she has bills to pay, so she has to go to work.
Mais c'est ça me dit, sous un budget, c'est pas travail là faut travailler en pile. Mais c'est gens ou même well. That's why the people always say it's not working
But
hard,
if she
it's
don't go to work, she
working
won't pay the
smart.
bills.
It's working smart.
Got it. You're right.
It's working smart.
Yeah.
Les blancs, pardon si pour white people, les white people appelez vont wash. Li kon façon lever, les nous même black, nous venons nous pas remplir en bas wash, les nous fin lever nous montrer nous gros nèg, don nous casser. Nous pas caler vont deuxième. But the white man, ça le fait lui-même. Li pour wash, on ti wash qui petit, li mette bon wash et puis pour on bois, li fourre en bas et puis li lever. So, qui ça fait tout travail là? Bois le mettre, mais nous même nous just pas nous pour wash nous lever. Don nous casser nous pas lever notre wash encore. That's the problem we have. Anyway, I'm back to the pediatric stuff.
Yep.
All right.
You're right.
So there was another question. That person said, "What are the most common symptoms of COVID-19 in children?"
In children, breathing problems.
Okay.
Increased work of breathing. When you are feeding your child, you see that your child don't have the energy to eat. You see them breathing fast. You see it in their belly. Sometimes you don't even have to lift up the shirt. You can see it on their clothes.
Alright.
You see their stomach raising. Over here, you see that they are pulling. So you would start seeing like their throat literally coming out. Diarrhea is one of them. Diarrhea is a major symptoms. Dehydration as well. Because là, si moun malade, li pa vle manger.
Okay.
So definite dehydration.
All right. Cool. Somebody said, so just because you have the money to buy something doesn't mean you can afford it. Anyway.
That's the word. It's because you have the money to buy
Doesn't mean you
something.
can afford it.
Just does not mean you can afford it.
Yeah, does not mean you can afford it. But that person is right though.
That person is right.
Exactly. Because when Bugatti coûte $1 million,
It's
ça
just
va
because you
les
have the
autres
$1 million.
pas
I agree with that.
All right, so thank you, sister. Another question. The expectation from a parent is that pediatrician will know everything about COVID, but this is a new disease and doctors are still learning.
That's true.
Why do we?
Why do we what?
I think so. Why the person said, why do we still or learning? But let me repeat the question. The expectation from a parent is that pediatrician will know everything about COVID, but this is a new disease and doctors are still learning. Why do we should know everything about it? I think so. That's what a person wants.
With COVID-19, I believe it's still a mystery.
Yeah.
Because every day, like, new variants are coming, and you really don't know what the new variant, like, how it's gonna affect people. So we are still learning. That's what I'm saying. We cannot put our faith in doctors. We cannot put our faith in nurses, in anyone. Put your faith in God to enlighten healthcare workers. Put your faith in God to enlighten researchers so that they can find new information and to collect data to see how it affects.
All right, so that was a question we always talk about it in this table. So we always talk about COVID vaccine.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So what do you think about COVID-19 vaccine? dans mi-temps pediatric field qui on travaille là. Qui ça vous pensez, qui opinion about that?
COVID-19 vaccine. All our lives we've been taking vaccines. We never questioned what was in the vaccine. We just assumed it was good for us. I agree with the COVID vaccine. I agree with vaccines. I support COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine is not a cure, but it's prevention. It's a prevention mechanism. So that way, if you get sick with COVID, it will help you. The issue with the COVID vaccine specifically, why people are, a lot of healthcare workers and many others, why they are upset is because of the way the COVID vaccine has been brought about, the coercion, the forceful. If you're telling somebody if you don't take the vaccine, you cannot work, that's force. Pas des gens qui ont l'air que gouvernement tellement remet que la force est pour un bagay bon, right? They love black people so much that I will force it on black people. They love the community so much
So
that
it's
I
not
will
only
force
black
it.
people, they
Everybody, I mean in general, everybody. That's why I said the community. They love us so much that they forcing it. Si un bagay était tellement bon comme ça, that's how I feel. If it was good, we would not be the first one to get it. It would not be so much like force. But I do agree with the vaccine. But it's forceful. Just because I agree with the vaccine, and I also agree with our human rights.
Okay.
The right to choose if you want to get the vaccine or not.
So let me just take an example. As you said, they force you to do that. So in your household, right? So you got your husband, you, and your kids. And you know there is something out there and it's not good and it's not okay. And there is some rules in the house. So if someone want to come in and that person, you just tell him, okay, if you want to come in, those are rules you have to follow.
Okay.
So because you said that to that person said, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to follow them. And your answer is, you cannot be inside. So do you think you force that person to follow your rules?
No, this is two different things.
No, you said
Somebody come into your house and vaccination.
Exactly.
This is something going to their body.
No. They're
This
not
is two
coming in
different
your
things.
house. They said in our work, in our place. So if you're not vaccinated, you cannot work because this is our place.
Let me tell you something about COVID-19. Before the vaccine came about, we were all working without vaccination.
Exactly.
I'm not opposed vaccination. Sometimes I play the other side's advocate because I understand where other people's coming from. We have a right to choose. It's a human right.
So you have it. They didn't disagree. They
Because
give you the right.
you're telling the person they cannot go to work. They cannot go to certain
That's your right.
restaurants.
You choose. That's the consequence. Consequence sans choisir, right? So
There's
you
still
said you're
I still
right.
believe there's some coercion.
No, it's not. So you have your right to choose or not to choose. So you choose not to take it. And there was consequences.
That's true.
You choose to take it and they give you $100 or $200.
That's true.
So
but look at now.
why
know the
nobody
mandates-
complain about
you know
100 or 200?
You know the mandates are going down now? The mandates, the mandates are being erased.
Of course, yeah.
You know, that's what I'm telling you. All of this is economic stuff. The mandates are going down.
Exactly.
Look at this, right?
I agree with you.
All those nurses and doctors who decided, I'm not going to take the vaccine and leave, now they're saying that since the mandates are going away, masks are going away, you may not need vaccines. The mandates, that's dropping as well. All those people who decided to leave, because they need workers and they need the world to go around, because it goes around on economics. All those people who refuse the vaccine, they will all come back. Because you know why? The hospital need those workers for the hospital system to work. So all of them are coming back with no vaccine. But you cared so much.
No, but let me tell you, there is one thing you should know as well. So it's the same thing. So when you tell these people, okay, je ne pas pour vaccin parce que fait moyen c'est pas normal. That's what you just said, okay? So we have been vaccinated a long time, we never question. Comme si nous on dit rien, nous on questionner, right? But okay, moun sa
How come
retourner
this
là.
time is like so much coercion?
Okay, because you're short and impersonal, so that's when you're besoin moun sa retourner. But do not act like be amazed ou bien to be surprised. Les moun sa retourner nou gen plus moun ki mouri tout. And now they're gonna say that's what I was told. On me dit nous ça. So moun sa ou vini sa vaksine koun ya, lè nou wè moun ap mouri tou, fòk nou pa etone. That's the point. That's the point. That's the
But the
point.
thing is, what I want us, it's not just regular people saying, oh, I don't agree with vaccine. I agree with vaccine. But the people who are saying they don't agree with the COVID vaccine, how it's being forced, these are people who are doing their research. They didn't just wake up and decide, I don't want to take the vaccine. This is a life and death situation. They have their reasons not to want to take the vaccine.
Of course, they do, because there was
And they have a right to have those reasons.
Okay, I do agree with you, but you have to know as well, there is a lot of people, they're not taking it, and they produce something and put on the net, put on the internet, and when you do your research, you will find those people who don't want the vaccine put their own stuff. So that's why you can find some research and can say, okay, no problem, I'm not taking it, parce que après recherche, me fin fait, mais qui ça gagne le vaccin?
Just to let you know, the COVID vaccine mandate is not every state. When I
Yeah.
went to Chicago, before I went to Chicago, I got COVID. I was vaccinated. When I got to Chicago, every day they would post, "Go get your flu vaccine." I've never received flu vaccine. I usually just wear mask. Every day they would post, by next Monday, if you don't have flu vaccine, you cannot work here. So I called them and I said, I don't have flu vaccine, but I have COVID vaccine. They said, the hospital I was at, they say, COVID vaccine is not a mandate here. Flu vaccine is a mandate. If you do not have the flu vaccine, you will have to leave on Monday. So I say this to say, every state and every facility have their own regulations and laws. So the reason why I'm saying that is because if the people get fired here because they don't have COVID vaccine, believe you, they will go somewhere else. They're not sitting home just relaxing, waiting for mandates to come back up again. There's a job that will accept you based on your beliefs, because these are like belief systems that's like making people and like what they truly believe in. If somebody don't want to take the vaccine, they have specific reasons. You don't know if they got a message from God. Something. You don't know. You don't know if they have certain diseases that they may not know.
Okay, I have
But
not disagree.
they have a right to choose.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
have a right to choose.
I'm not disagree with you, but like I said, choose or not choosing, they all have consequences.
But anyways, I just want to say it backfired, because all those people that got fired for not having the COVID vaccine, now they're all going to come back in because the mandate is
Alright.
is letting down. So it definitely backfired.
Exactly. So I just want to wait and what's gonna happen with those people who come back. Anyway, I just want to sit down and waiting for what's gonna happen. And I think so. Those people who get vaccinated gonna like now yelling at them and say, "Go back where you came from because you must take it."
I think the more research that's done, they would know. Once we have more research, we'll see the effect of the vaccine and how it's
Alright, that
helping.
person, I think so. At the same question, that person said, "What do we question the lack of knowledge about the nurses and the doctors? Why people question the lack of their knowledge?"
Because we are human beings. It's okay to question our lack of knowledge. We don't know everything. Doctors don't know everything. Nurses don't know everything.
Okay.
All you can do is hope and pray. The thing is, in our community, we put too much emphasis on the doctor. Remember, doctors are going to school for 8 years. Nurses are going to school for between 4 to 5 years. 8 years is not enough to know the body. It's not enough. The body is complex. New diseases are coming out each and every day. It's not enough, and we don't know everything.
All right. They say, "Do you believe leadership is a democracy or autocracy? Autocratic. Do you believe mandate is new? The goal of mandate is always during emergencies."
That makes sense.
So, do you believe democracy, leadership is a democracy or autocratic?
I think that with leaderships, there are some times when there are different types of leaders. There are situations where you need to have democracy. There are situations where you need to be autocratic. For an example, some situations you can ask the citizens, the people, what do you think? I need this from you. I need your opinion. But then there are certain situations you have to be autocratic. You have to just make an informed decision by yourself for the people. It's all about the situation.
Right. And do you believe mandate is new?
Mandates, they're not new. Mandates are not new.
Okay.
Mandates are not new. It's just that now, because we are in an emergency situation, it's like more prevalent. More, I don't want to use the word coercion again, but we're putting a lot of emphasis on mandates now. But we've always had mandates.
So do you believe government should not impose any rules?
Don't believe government. We need rules in the government.
Okay, so when you was advocate the other part, so
We need rules,
So-
but we need the people to make a decision. These are people you needed in the society. You fire them. Now, what did you have?
so nobody. So it's not because of the government, it's because of them.
So now we had nobody.
Of
We
course,
had
of
nobody
course,
to
because
work.
of them.
Nous quittons notre travail là, nous quittons notre travail dur.
Exactly.
And you
because
leave
of
all my
your
coworkers who
people.
were already working hard.
Because of your people, it's not because of the government.
Okay.
It's also Zilla, c'est just emergency qui cause mandate. So if I fire people because they're not taking the vaccine, it's not because of me. That's the choice you made.
Let me tell you something about mandates. Who came up with these mandates, okay?
Racism, toujours.
No. Oh, you don't like to talk about racism? Oh, I can tell you 5 examples of how racism affects you. Racism affects me every day.
Alright.
You don't like to talk about racism, Junior?
Okay, I have.
When
I
I
do,
walk into
maybe
a
next
room,
time.
I look for different exits because I know racism is in the air.
Okay.
But I see that you don't like to talk about racism, but it affects us. You think it don't affect you, but it does.
Okay.
Let me tell you about the people who made the mandates.
Okay.
Okay? The people who made the mandates, c'est moun qui va jamais entrer dans nos chambres patients.
Okay.
Yo chita avec Colio in the office. They drink their tea. They drink their water. They look at statistics, some true, some not true, and they make decisions for the people.
Okay.
No type of experience on the floor. Okay? The people who make the mandates and are making all these rules, which that's their job, they're doing great. But you have to think, you have no idea what nurses and doctors are going through. You don't know their experiences. So to tell somebody if you don't have the vaccine, you cannot come to work, that's an issue for them because they spent the whole year working without the vaccine. And now they have reasons that me and you may not support. Me and you don't need to support their reasons why they don't want the vaccine. But we need to support their right to choose to not have vaccines. Their human right. They have a right to say no. And they stood to their beliefs, and now they were fine. They stood to their beliefs, they left, they didn't get the COVID vaccines, whatever their beliefs is. I don't have to believe in COVID vaccine, but I believe in your right to choose. I will always believe in someone's right to choose.
Okay, it's not a problem. I'm not disagree as well. So like I said, so anything you choose, there was the consequences behind.
There are some people who got the vaccine, they didn't want to take the vaccine, but they say I have to take it to come to work, I guess. They were upset.
Yeah, so because they know if they're not taking it, they don't work. The people travail, but don't travail, so family will be occupied, so you're obliged to. So because we have made a lot of choice in life, because we need to. It's not because we agree, because we need to. A lot of people, okay, have been Christian for what? Automatiquement, because everything we follow and everything we agree with, there is interest behind it.
That's true.
So you've been Christian for what? There is an interest for that. Because you want to go to heaven. You want to get saved. That's why you okay by a problem from the Christian. You know? So même gens tout, moun qui choisit ça, there is always consequences behind, like I said. Ou choisir un ancien parce qu'on connaît la bon goût. You choose life, you choose light. But these people, okay, I'm not taking vaccine. But when you die, what's gonna happen? Nothing. So that's when personne n'a pas trop bon importance, même avec le monde qui te prend vaccin. So quand il y a la seconde bagarre qui arrive, vous pas qu'à complaindre now.
That's true.
Alright? So okay. Do you want to live in a country without mandate?
Do I want to live in a country without mandates? Every country have mandates. I wouldn't. I would not want to live in a country without mandates.
Haiti back again.
They have some type of mandate.
Oh, yeah?
Some type. They have some type of something. They have some type of mandate.
Oh yeah?
It's probably enforced in different ways, but they have some type of mandate.
Alright. So anyway, En tout cas, merci tout le monde qui t'a suivi le show. Son ligue est à 9h57 minutes. Et nous espérons que vous avez enjoyé malgré nous avons un petit coupure dans le show. Et ou même tout, qui t'a participé, qui t'a parlé, qui t'a dit, qui t'a posé des questions. Nous remercions tout pour le support. Merci avec et opérateur nous behind the scene, Kevin Delis. Merci avec Jenny qui t'a fait gros déplacement, qui était supposé avec nous. Et nous dit, tout le monde net qui était parti chez Chessboard pour suivre le show ensemble avec nous, ça fait nous plaisir. Continuez à supporter le show. Continuez à bailler pour le show sponsor. J'en nous dis, nous avons une tasse pour nous là. Nous avons besoin de 12 tasses. Chaque monde qui vient dans le show a une bonne tasse. So, dégagez ou même peu importe côté, joignez avec nous, sponsorisez le show. Et Jenny, sur mon dernier parole, on dit, avant de nous aller.
No, not at all. Thank you for having me.
Ah, you see? We got something to say. All right. So, merci encore une fois de plus. Et nous vraiment apprécier ou même qui t'es prêté temps, ou même qui t'es accepté tant de nous. J'en ai habitué à dire, demain si Dieu veut mardi, nous avons gagné Brother Wilfried dans Radio Télémiracle 88.9 qui gagne une étude biblique qu'il fait chaque mardi. Ou même tout qui t'a aimé suivre l'étude ça, si pas attendre, allez taper dans le téléphone nous. Mangerpournam.net, mangerpournam, Jean Welia, mangerpournam.net, mpn.net. So, vous avez toute série de messages, toute série d'études que l'il fait sous la Bible pendant la période ça. Et je suis certain que vous n'avez pas perdu rien. Vous n'avez pas perdu rien, quelque chose qui a monté toujours. Vous n'avez pas perdu rien. So, nous réservons notre question pour la time. Et merci tout. Nous fait 2 mois que nous avons parlé de COVID-19. Nous avons en pile intervenant et Jenny, tes dernières intervenantes non pour Chosa et nous remercions ou même qui t'es supporté Chosa pendant 2 mois. Lundi si Dieu veut son l'autre bagaille qui va gagner, la différence nous va gagner service les hommes qui live et qui sur radio à tout, c'est que nous pas gagner show à lundi, nous gagner service les hommes. Lundi prochain, nous retourner à voir cap 14 dans show et nous sommes certains que nous gagner une autre partie show avec mesdames parce que mois de mars là c'est moi mesdames yo. So dégagez sponsoriser show, voyez l'argent à nous, voyez l'argent à l'église à outreach et puis on dit bon Dieu merci. N'a prié et n'a aller la caille nous et nous dit tout le monde bonne nuit déjà. On nous prier bon Dieu. Adorable Père Céleste, nous merci pour grâce, merci pour tout le monde qui t'a suivi nous et merci encore pour présence, merci pour Jenny qui t'est déplacé, cher Seigneur Dieu d'amour qui t'est ban nous temps et nous remercions, nous va rien pour nous payer lui parce que ça lui fait là, cher Seigneur Dieu d'amour pas gain prix. Pour lui, merci pour Kevin encore personne qui était avec nous tout. Nous demandons capable de protéger lorsque y a la caillou, était avec eux. Bénis-nous, bénis famille nous chaque là, cher Seigneur Dieu. Bénis famille chaque grand monde qui t'a suivi choix était au fil de en personne. T'as écrit que nous, c'est pour ça nous prions dans nos Jésus petit au